Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's your old buddy, the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this, coming to you live to tape, 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Here for another episodic YouTube adventure on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel for Chaos Corner. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. Much love and respect. I can't thank you enough for being here as we go through today, April 6th, this date in pro wrestling history. Sit back and relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, get ready for the NCAA finals, get ready for the UConn women, the Florida men. Those were my two picks when the bracket started. Tell me what you have. Shout out to my mods, the OTS Tribal Queen, and of course my brother from another mother, and that's one Austin Nance. Let's get right into it, fans. We're going to jump off all the other social media platforms. Remember to go over and follow me on Twitter, aka X, where I post almost daily, and that's at Big Daddy GOC, and the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. You can't go wrong over there. People say it's toxic. Use it for positivity and you'll have no problems. And just remember this, in order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. Once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you. Because there's three types of people in this world. Those who don't know what happened, those who wonder what happened, and people like the GOC, that's me, that make things happen. And tonight, it's AEW Dynasty. So I will be back tomorrow with my review show for tonight's AEW Dynasty. So stay tuned to the channel. Go over to the post section. I'm on there and I'll be updating. And again, keep yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally fit. Because if he's for us, no one else can be against us. And I acknowledge my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, none of this would be possible. Surround yourself with like-minded people. There's a lot of distractions out there. I'm here for a stress reliever, a much-needed temporary distraction, and so you're better off when you walk out of here than when the fuck you walked in here. And I apologize for the cussing. Because you're here for history, facts. This isn't just opinions and observations and viewpoints, which I've earned, don't you think? I don't deserve anything. I've earned it. My over 50 years as a historian, a researcher, a scout, a talent agent. I stumbled there. You guys get it, right? A mark. That's right. I said it. A mark. And of course, my over 3 decades in the pro wrestling ring as a manager who took the fucking bumps, who came out 2 or 3 times a night, booked all over this country. As an indie pro wrestling manager, it's almost unheard of. The biggest, baddest, loudest manager who made his men champions. It's all right here on the channel. 70% of my career is probably posted on the channel. Over 5,000 videos, well over 1 million views. If you're not here, I don't know what to tell you. You're missing the fucking boat.
Motion detected at front camera.
Somebody's always watching. Whether it's that mechanical AI bitch, the cameras. You can't get by on the Ponderosa here. All right, let's get into it. I don't want to get too crazy. I want to keep this under a half an hour, but I want you guys to learn something. Take out your notebooks. I will be taking attendance. Bueller? Anyone? All right, here we go. Today, April 6th, in pro wrestling history. 1966, Chief Little Eagle defeats Eduardo Perez for the NWA Gulf Coast Heavyweight title, beginning Eagle's 3rd reign and ending Perez's 2nd. 1970, Al Green and Frank Martinez defeat Johnny Walker and Tojo Yamamoto in a tournament final in Memphis, Tennessee to win the vacant Mid-America NWA Southern Tag Team titles. 1971, this date in history, Ciclone Veloz Jr. defeats Humberto Garza for the Mexican national middleweight title in Monterrey, Mexico. Today in pro wrestling history, 1974, Ken Lucas defeats the Wrestling Pro for the NWA Alabama heavyweight title in New Brockton, Alabama, beginning Lucas's fourth reign. Today in pro wrestling history, 1979, Abdullah the Butcher defeats Jumbo Tsuruta to win the annual All Japan Pro Wrestling Champions Carnival Tournament. Today, this date in history, 1979, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk defeated the Invaders for the World Wrestling Council World Tag Team titles in San Juan, Puerto Rico. No me jodas, maricón, muévete, culo, pendejo, cabrón. De nada, man. Lighten up, kayfabe. I'm only kidding, man. What'd I say? Today, pro wrestling history, 1979, Jake Roberts defeats Big Daddy Ritter, a.k.a. the Junkyard Dog, for the Stampede North American title in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Also on that same card, Leo Burke and Bruce Hart win the Stampede International Tag Team titles from Mr. Hito and Mr. Sakurada and begin their second reign. Konnichiwa, bitches. Arigato from the Chaos-san. April 6th, 1980. The Junkyard Dog and Buck Robley defeat the Fabulous Freebirds of Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes for the Mid-South Tag Team titles in Monroe, Louisiana. April 6th, 1981. Bill Dundee and the Dream Machine win their third AWA Southern Tag Team titles in Memphis, Tennessee, defeating Masafuki and Mr. Onita. Today in pro wrestling history, 1984, Waukesha, Wisconsin. Ken Patera and Mr. Saito throw a 30-pound boulder through the window of a McDonald's restaurant after they were refused service. I think all they wanted was a couple of Big Macs and some fries. Could you blame them? It's after the matches. It's late at night. You just showered, you're hungry. Can I get a couple of Big Macs and some fries, maybe a Diet Coke? What's the problem? What did they do wrong? I stand with Patera and Saito on this one. You gotta feed guys. They're 300 pounds. They're on the road 300 days a year. Can we feed the guys? So today, 1984 in Waukesha, however you say it, potato, patata, tomato, tomato. They just wanted something to eat. This date in history, 1985. The Mexican Angel and Fidel Sierra defeat Al Perez and Joe Savoldi for the World Wrestling Council Tag Team titles in San Juan, Puerto Rico. 1986. El Solitario, a.k.a. Roberto Gonzalez Cruz, passes away at age 39 due to a heart attack. Can never take anything for granted. Tomorrow's not guaranteed for any of us. El Solitario, he was both the NWA World Light Heavyweight Champion and at one time the EMLL Middleweight Champion. At only 39 on this date in history, 1986. April 6, 1987. Rocky Johnson and Soul Train Jones, a.k.a. Virgil, Vincent, whatever you want to call him, defeated Big Bubba. That's right, Big Bubba, not to be confused with Big Bubba Rogers. This was Big Bubba, a.k.a. Typhoon, Tugboat, the Shockmaster, Fred Ottman, or whatever you want to call him, all rolled up into one, and his partner, Goliath, in Memphis, Tennessee, for the AWA Southern Tag Team titles. A lot going on back here in the territorial days on this date in pro wrestling history. I love doing these shows. I have about 30 or 40 episodes here on the channel. Check them out from the past. April 6th, 1991, Dave Finlay defeats Dave. Wait, my bad, stand by. Dave Taylor defeats Dave Finlay for the British heavyweight title in Kingsland, England. Two tough son of a bitches with that European style in Finlay and Taylor, a la Lord Stephen William Regal. Some tough guys, man. We continue here with April 6th, today, this date in pro wrestling history. We're only 10 minutes in. April 6th, 1991. The British Bulldogs defeat Kenta Kobashi and Tsuyoshi Kikuchi to win the All Japan Pro Wrestling All Asia Tag Team titles in Osaka, Japan. 1993. Los Brazos, a.k.a. El Brazo, Brazo de Oro, and Brazo de Plata, defeat the New Infernales, comprising of MS1, Pirata, Morgan, and Santanaco, to win the CMLL World Trios titles in Mexico City, Mexico. How about the pronunciation of the lucha names here by the GOC or the Japanese stars over there in the land of the rising sun? Not bad. You got to practice up on these things. It comes natural for the GOC. April 6th, 1996. The Canadian Glamour Boys, Sean Morley and Shane Sewell, defeat Hurricane Castillo Jr. and Ray Gonzalez for the WWC Tag Team titles. Now you know who Shane Morley is, right? Right? Hello? McFly? Is anybody home? The big Val Boski, Val Venus? I think most of you guys knew that. And if you didn't, I don't know, maybe you got the brain of a dehydrated baby. I don't know. No offense, man. I'm not talking to my subscribers. I'm talking about those of you that lurk in the background. Because just know that I know, and you know that I know, that you're watching. I have the analytics. It gets back to me. Say no more. All right, here we go. Today in pro wrestling history, April 6th, 1997, the WCW presents, that's for you, Spring Stampede in Tupelo, Mississippi. Rey Mysterio pinned the Ultimo Dragon. WCW Women's Champion Akira Hokuto pinned Medusa after Luna Vachon tripped Medusa when she attempted a power bomb. Talk about legendary names in women's wrestling. The WCW TV champion Prince Iaukea pinned William Regal. Now, I consider that to be an upset, whether it's in 1997, 2007, or in 2027. The Public Enemy, Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge, defeat Old Slapnuts, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Steve Mongo McMichael with Deborah at that point in his corner. The Rock pinned Old Slapnuts. Rocco Rock, not Rocky Johnson. Rocco Rock, hello. McFly, is anybody home? I said it again. Every time I say that, take a shot or a drink or do a push-up. Do something, man. WCW Tag Team Champion, one half, Kevin Nash with Ted DiBiase and the light heavyweight champion at the point, or the cruiserweight champion in WCW, 6, a.k.a. Pac, the 1-2-3 Kid, Lightning Kid. You guys get it, right? Defeated Rick Steiner. Now, allegedly, here's the rumors, here we go. 1997, WCW, allegedly, Scott Hall was a no-show, and Scotty Steiner had been arrested earlier. So, we don't know what the deal is. Oh, we have somebody in the studios. Hello, we're in the middle of live to tape. It's good to see that you're home. There's always somebody coming into the Ponderosa here. The wife, daughter, son-in-law, granddaughter, family, Roma, Mancini, Perez, Big Steve, Rick Del Santo, the Enforcer, Saban. There's already somebody showing up here. The crazy thing is, I don't know how they get here because I'm up on top of the hill, over to the cavern, under the tunnel, under the surface of the earth. Yeah, I invite them here. The big game's on later. We're going to watch it together. It's going to be an extravaganza, a bonanza. We're going right in from the UConn Women's Championship game, I believe South Carolina, because you got to support the women, women's rights. We believe in women's rights. No men in women's sports. That's why we're here. And then, of course, into tonight, AEW Dynasty. So there'll be all kinds of people trolling through the grounds here at Chaos Corner. That's why I had to get this out of the way early, man. You guys understand? Today in pro wrestling history, just to give you something to chew on. Every dog needs a bone to chew on. Just to give you a little something before you go into Dynasty or if you're watching the championship game. And then tomorrow, Florida, who I picked from the beginning of the March Madness. In the brackets, the tournament of 64, 69, whatever the fuck it is, man. I did okay with picking Florida. All right, we were already talking about Scott Hall was a no-show. Steiner maybe got arrested. Scotty. Big Papa Pump. Lex Luger defeated the Giant Booker T and Stevie Ray in a four corners match, making Stevie Ray submit to the torture rack. And Luger became the #1 contender. Now remember, we're in 1997 here. WCW Spring Stampede from Tupelo, Mississippi. On Today in Pro Wrestling History. Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly pinned the Macho Man Randy Savage in a no disqualification match with a diamond cutter. Bang! No? Too late? Too early? Too soon? Too much? Bang! So there we go. That was WCW Spring Stampede 1997, April 6th, on this date in history, which leads me into April 6th, 1998, and Today in Pro Wrestling History. Right in the middle of the Monday Night Wars. Take out your notebooks. Now, I don't know where you guys were in that point of your life, how old you are, what generation you're from. We all have different perspectives and have different opinions, and that's what makes the community in this space great, as long as you're not, have the brain of a turnbuckle. You understand what I'm saying? So in 97... Let's see, I failed math twice, non-credit in college, and then I had to take credited math. So I actually took 3 semesters of math just to pass 1. So what am I? Almost 35 in 1997, 98. 35 as we go through this. Oh, the old man brand, man. Monday Night Wars, no better time. Again, you guys were barely teenagers. Some of you maybe in your early 20s. Maybe some of you in your 30s, like I was, my generation. Again, which was unbelievable times growing up in the 70s. I talk about it here all the time. The rearview mirror, the front windshield. I'm not going to get into all that because we're here for Today in Pro Wrestling History. And this is 1998 when a lot of you were, I don't know, probably not even in high school. Let's remember where we were in life as we honor the past and we go in the time machine. We flash back here on Chaos Corner. So in 98, the Monday Night Wars, WWF Raw is War edges out WCW's Monday Nitro. 4.7 to 4.6 in the ratings, with over a 9, combined together, 9.5 rating. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Do some research. Go to DuckDuckGo. Don't use Google. Don't go Google it. Like all the rest of these geeks. Go Google it. Use DuckDuckGo. It's a little more privacy. Although Big Brother's watching everything. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. We all know that. See my earlier message here on the show. Because this isn't a fucking podcast. This is a show. Today, this date in pro wrestling history. We continue with the Monday Night Wars. We know the rankings, 4.7 to 4.6. WCW, here's the difference though. WWF was taped. WCW Nitro aired live from the Miami Arena. Here's the rundown. Here's the report. Here's the results. In no particular order. El Dandy, La Parka, and Psychosis defeated Tokyo Magnum, Nobunaga, and Judo Suwa. WCW TV champion Booker T defeated the Disco Inferno. Kidman defeated Lenny Lane. Conan defeated Norman Smiley. Buff Bagwell defeated U.S. champion DDP by disqualification, so obviously Page retains the title. Goldberg defeated Hammer. And no, that's not the Greg the Hammer Valentine. That was Van Hammer, the Hammer, whatever the fuck he was called. Ultimo Dragon defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. with Eddie Guerrero in his corner. Remember where we are. April 6, 1998. This date today in pro wrestling history. Lex Luger defeated Barry Darsow. Brian Adams and Kurt Hennig with Ravishing Rick Rude in their corner defeated the British Bulldog with the Anvil in his corner. The British Bulldogs with the Anvil. A lot of people on the outside, you notice the trend here. Not everybody's got a manager's license. What are we doing here with all the different factions? Again, Monday Night Wars, but this is when it was getting rough. Late 90s leading into the early 2000s when everything was about to implode in the industry at that time. WWEF's program was the Shiznits at the time, even though it was the end of the wars. WCW in a year or 2 years will be folded. It gets on this slippery slope here as we get into 99, the turn of the century, and then 2001. We'll get onto that in another program. WCW Cruiserweight Champion, the Ocho, the Nueve, well, not at that time. Y2J, the Lionheart. Chris Jericho, give that dude respect for still being around today and being able to hold it down, keep it real, and maintain. Here I am, April 6, 1998. He'll be on the pay-per-view April 6, 2025 tonight for AEW Dynasty. Back then, he's the Cruiserweight champion for WCW when they had weight classes, which is smart. Why they don't bring it back now, I'll never know why it's not brought back today. To have light, heavyweight, cruiserweight. It's just better usage of the talent to get them over instead of clustering everything together. It really doesn't make any sense when you got these 150-pounders, 180-pounders. Don't get me started on intergender wrestling when one night as a star you're wrestling a 260-pound beast of a man and then the next night or the next week you're bumping for a 140-pound woman. Get your head out of your asses with this intergender garbage. Doesn't work, not believable, doesn't sell. In 2025, maybe it does because this whole society and world and historically has changed so much, and the hatred and vitriol, it really is incredible. The non-believability and the pathological liars. I mean, I'm not judging anyone. I use my own discernment because if I judge, then it's going to come back to me. So I don't do that. I don't give a fuck about your skin color, where you come from, what you look about, your religion, your politics. I really don't. You're good to me, I'm good to you. Live and let live. Keep it to yourself. Nobody really gives a dang. That's the truth instead of crying out and that's your identity of what you are. A lot of sick people out there. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl. There's only two ways, Adam and Eve. That's the way it was. And then you want to insult your parents by the people who raised you, whether they support you or don't support you through that. That's another story for another time. And that's why I really don't give a damn about any of that and where you come from or what you are or your opinions. But if you get disrespectful, you poke the bear, you're pushing on people, you're going to have problems. Hard times are coming. Hard times are here. And we've been through hard times. So let me not get off the subject because we are here on today, April 6th, this date in pro wrestling history. Where were we? Chris Jericho, again, amazing athlete, the longevity. You can't say enough about Jericho. I'm not saying I like his shtick nowadays. But back then, he defended his cruiserweight title over Juventud Guerrero. Scott Steiner with Vincent defeats Sick Boy. And WCW heavyweight champion Sting defeats Kevin Nash by disqualification. Nash had Conan in his corner. Conan! Isn't that what Don Callis said in Mexico? Oh, Conan! When someone was going to choke him out. I got to make it relatable here, man. On that same night, we're in 1998 here on the time machine here for this date in pro wrestling. We just went through the Monday Night Wars. WCW Nitro was live in Miami with a 4.6 rating. We go to WWF Raw is War that same night. Results and taped March 31st at the War Memorial in Syracuse, New York. Big shout out to my folks and my peeps and my fans and friends up there in upstate New York, and especially in the Syracuse area. You know what I'm talking about. The OTS Tribal Queen. Was it at the Onondaga War Memorial back then? This is April 6th, 1998, but it was taped on March 1st, 1998, 31st, excuse me. Were you there, Jen? March 31st, 1998 for Raw is War, because they also did an episode and taped an episode of Shotgun Saturday Night that same night in Syracuse. Again, we're in the middle of the Monday Night Wars here on this date in pro wrestling history. Let's go to the results for Raw is War from Syracuse, New York. Again, taped compared to a live Nitro and WWE, rebounding after the 83 weeks. If you know the history, I know that you do. Adam Copeland defeated Sean Stasiak. Copeland's going to be working the pay-per-view tonight here in 2025. How about that for longevity? Edge, Cope, Christian, whatever, Copeland, whatever your name is. He defeated Sean Stasiak back here in 1998. Sean Morley defeated Tom Brandy, a.k.a. Salvatore Sincere, a.k.a. the Second Patriot. Goldust pinned Jose Estrada. The NWA Tag Team Champions, the new Midnight Express, yes, Bodacious Bob Holly and Bombastic Bart Gunn. What a disgrace. They defeated the Rock and Roll Express. Had to job out to Holly and Gunn just to try to get something back in the whole legendary rivalry of the Midnight Express of Condrey and Eaton and Lane and the Rock and Roll Express, and this is what you do. I'll even accept Rose and Condrey. They were the original Midnight Express. But this, and I think you went along with it, Corny, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I don't know, man. It's gotten quiet in here, hasn't it? WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Taka Michinoku defeated Scott Taylor. Jeff Jarrett defeated Raymond Clark. The LOD 2000, the Road Warriors, oh, what a rush, with Sonny, of all people, defeated and jobbed out Roy Raymond and Frank Stiletto. NWA champion Dan the Beast Severn, with Jim Cornette in his corner. Now, this is when NWA was just a territorial system. It was persona non grata. It wasn't the NWA from the 70s into the 80s, which became Jim Crockett and then WCW. This was the territories, which I worked for several myself. So the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time, Dan the Beast Severn, with Cornette, defeated Flash Funk by submission, a.k.a. Too Cold Scorpio. Steve Blackman defeated Brian Christopher by disqualification. After the match, old Slapnuts, Double J, busted a guitar over Blackman's head. I thought, who was Jarrett with that night? Tennessee Lee? Colonel Parker? Robert Fuller? I don't know, man. Stand by, don't go anywhere. 30 minutes in. Alexa, please play Tropical Thunderstorm sounds. See, I'm trying to be nice to her.
Here's a station based on
I'm trying.
Tropical Thunderstorm sounds.
She's
by
tough,
Nature Sounds,
man.
Nature Music.
AI is on the way. It's going to change the whole world. Better or worse, it's here. Don't go anywhere. This day today in pro wrestling history, before we get into AEW Dynasty tonight, and I will have a review tomorrow. Bing, bing, bing. Let's going to be a good night, good day. Everyone's blessed. Little Red Bull, little kickstart. The girls are coming up very soon. UConn women, the center of women's basketball is right here in the universe, right here in the shadows of Titan Towers. I mean, let's be honest. Come on, does it get better than Gino Auriemma? So it's good for the economy of the state, and maybe everybody won't have to pay so many damn taxes because people think when it's cracked up to be here on the East Coast, it's a no-go here. It's a rat race. People are rude. People are despicable human beings. There's not a lot of love. It's every dog-eat-dog, rat race man for himself. It's tough here in the Northeast area, let me tell you. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay steadfast. Use your discernment. I say it all the time. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, but there's a lot of great places out there in the country, whether it be the upper Midwest, the Midwest itself, which goes through a lot of times. Our prayers and thoughts are with everyone affected by these natural disasters, from earthquakes to the unbelievable tornadoes, floods. It's going on everywhere in the areas of the Deep South, great states like Louisiana or Tennessee or Kentucky and Arkansas and Oklahoma and Missouri. I mean, the heart of the country. So let me refocus here as we're back here on Raw is War for today in pro wrestling history, leading into tonight's Dynasty. And I got distracted by the women's hoops. I get it, man. Listen, everybody's coming over to the house. I got to put a place for the Savages, Eli and Emily. And we don't entertain often. We keep things very low key, low to the vest. Just want to let that be known. Email me, inbox me, leave a comment, say something, man. I like doing today in pro wrestling history. I love history. So we were talking about Jeff Jarrett busting a guitar over Steve Blackman's head and the different incarnations of Robert Fuller. Also on that card that night for Raw's War from Syracuse, New York, here in 1998, in the middle of the Monday Night Wars, Owen Hart defeated IC champion The Rock by disqualification when Chyna interfered and hit Owen Hart with a baseball bat. Luna, with Goldust, pinned Matt Knowles, my old buddy H.C. Loke from ECW and the Carnage Crew. After a Goldust attacked prior to the match, who actually took out Knowles, a.k.a. H.C. Loke. Luna was a bad bitch, though, wasn't she? A legend. Ken Shamrock defeated Mark Mero by disqualification after interference from the Nation of Domination. You know, Farouk and the guys, Godfather. It was quite the faction. DX... And I'm not going to say I got 2 words for you because I only got 1 for you. And this is for you, YouTube, for stepping on my throat here on social media. I don't really care because I'd be doing it anyway. DX comprised of Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X6, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, along with Chyna, defeated the Disciples of Apocalypse. 8-Ball, Skull, and Chains, which were Brian Lee and the Harris Boys. After the show, this is what you may not know for a little tidbit of information and history, and that's why you're here. Back on that night, today, April 6, 1998, after that show in Syracuse, which was taped, there was a special dark match. World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock, and The Undertaker teamed up to defeat the Intercontinental Champion at the time, Goldust, The Rock, and Kane. How about that? I bet you a lot of you didn't know that. Let's move on here. Let's see what we can do here. We're going a little longer than I thought because you know I get carried away. April 6th, 2002. Eddie Colon wins his 6th WWC Junior Heavyweight title from Rey Mysterio in Caguas, Puerto Rico. On the same event, we saw Rico Suave defeat Ricky Santana for the World Wrestling Council TV title. April 6th, 2002, El Lobo defeats Super Crazy in Carolina, Puerto Rico to win the IWA International Heavyweight title. Now, if you remember correctly, for years, and especially down there in late 90s into the early 2000s, the island wars amongst wrestling promotions, WWC and Carlito Colon and Victor Quinones of the IWA, which ended up now, I think, with Savio Vega. Let's stay in 2002, if you will, on this date in pro wrestling history. This story gets a little convoluted, a little all over the place. It's independent pro wrestling, which is the backbone of this fucking industry, the backbone of this business. Prices, entertainment, stars, accessible, affordable for the blue-collar man, the lunch pail guy, the working class family, single moms, single dads with their kids, family entertainment. That's where you go. Support independent pro wrestling. It's in every state, every county, every country across this planet, the United States, Mexico, Japan, Canada. You won't regret it. It's where all the stars begin, where all the rookies learn, where all the veterans go back for a payday, and all the part-time weekend warriors do it for years because of the love of the business. Independent pro wrestling. You can't go wrong. Instead of being priced out with the WWE, AEW, or even these other mid-level promotions, TNA, Impact, NWA, MLW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, GCW, charging outrageous prices. The biggest gates, the biggest sales, not the most income, all of that. It's all horse shit. Support independent pro wrestling. I don't know about you guys, what kind of money you have. But what they want to charge a money grab from people nowadays, whether it's overseas or here, is despicable. So this gets a little convoluted. 2002, April 60, the two East Coast Wrestling Association titles change hands in Wilmington, Delaware. Mr. Ooh La La wins his second ECW Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title over Mozart Fontaine. Here's the tough one. And I bring this up because they're legends. Low Key and the late, great John Xavier win the ECWA tag team titles over Christopher, and the American Dragon, which we know who was then Brian Danielson. Now, here's the caveat. Daniels and Xavier, Christopher Daniels and John Xavier, pardon me, because Austin, could you rein her in? Alexa, play Tropical Thunderstorm sounds. Now, you know she's going to talk back to me, and I have to go back and forth here. So, guys, bear with me. Moderators, can you handle this, please? Jen, are you here? Austin, are you still here? I know that you are. So, could we do this? Could we take this in?
Start your free trial and play quiet Tropical Thunderstorm sounds?
No. See, this is what happens when you're one man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog, no editing, old school and traditional, as I'm being disrespected and stepped on here. Two voices at once. As I'm trying to talk about the convolutedness of the ECWA on April 6th, 2002, this is what's happening here on Chaos Corner. It's chaos, literally. Originally, Christopher Daniels and Xavier were challenging the American Dragon, Brian Danielson, and Low Key. With the wrestler getting the winning fall, he could choose a new partner. Now, because of problems between the champions, Dragon pinned Daniels, but Low Key was the legal man. He chose Xavier to be his new partner. So in complicated fashion, I hope that I explained that. And the reason I bring it up is because these four men are legends in the business, and that's what independent pro wrestling is. And you see where they come from. Now, this is over 20 years ago on Today in Pro Wrestling History. We go to April 6th, 2006. We're getting ready to wrap it up here, fans. Don't go anywhere. The UFC Fighting Championships were held at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. The show aired on Spike TV, and it got a 1.6 rating. On that event, Rashid Evans went over on Sam Hoger in a split decision. If you remember your pugilist, your Ultimate Fighters, the late, great Stephan Bonner defeated Keith Jardine by unanimous decision to retain the light heavyweight title in the UFC. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Alexa, higher the volume. Alexa, could you please higher the volume? You guys can't hear me now, huh? We continue on today, this date in pro wrestling history. April 6th, 2010, the WWE released their Hart family documentary entitled Heart and Soul on DVD. Now remember, WWE released their Hart family documentary. Doesn't mean it was the truth. April 6th, 2011. The Los Angeles Times featured a story on World Wrestling Entertainment taking the word wrestling out of their product. When McMahon was asked, he said, "I think every brand has to recreate itself. I want everyone to look at us in a vastly different way than they have." Vince said to help rebranding of the WWE. No one does television production better than we do. It's damn near the Olympics, McMahon said. We know more about live touring than anyone in the United States. And you know what? Vince was right. Certainly nowadays. I mean, live touring, live shows, who knows better than the World Wrestling Federation, aka the World Wrestling Entertainment. April 6th, 2013. Shimmer, the all-women's wrestling promotion, debuts on iPay-per-view from Secaucus, New Jersey. Shimmer 53. Throw that in there for historical notes when it comes to women's wrestling. April 6th, 2013. Take out your notebooks. I hope you're still here. Hell froze over as Bruno Sammartino returned to World Wrestling Entertainment, the WWF, and was inducted into the Hall of Fame along with Mick Foley, who was inducted by Terry Funk, Trish Stratus, who was inducted by Stephanie McMahon, Booker T, who was inducted by his brother Stevie Ray, Bob Backlund, in quite an outrageous performance, who was inducted by Maria Menounos. Backlund was out there in his later years, huh? I had a chance to work with Backlund more than once. Great guy. I think he's confused as a baby at Hooters, that's for sure. Donald J. Trump, your current president, was inducted by Vincent Kennedy McMahon in the class of 2013 WWE Hall of Fame. And the late, great living legend, Bruno Sammartino, was inducted by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So look at that in the class of 2013 WWE Hall of Fame and how it's all connected. Number one, why would Maria Menounos induct the legendary Bob Backlund, one of the greatest champions in WWF history, one of the longest reigns? And maybe that's why that induction was so crazy. I don't get the correlation there. Trump going in from McMahon, and here it is 2013, and since 2013, here in 2025, he's going on to be president twice. Who knows what's going to happen? And I don't give a fuck who you voted for either. It doesn't matter to me. Keep it to yourself, not keep it to yourself. Don't make it your identity. I know that. People crazy when it comes to politics. Even close friends of mine, crazy. Family members, casuals, associates, former co-workers. If I'm not being asked, why are you asking me? If that makes sense. If I'm not saying or asking your opinion, why give it to me? That's on you. So yeah, it doesn't affect his friendships and families and things like that, but things will be looked at differently. And that's not judging. So the oddness of that and where Vince is now. Of course, Mick Foley, we just saw on Dark Side of the Ring. The late, great Terry Funk is no longer with us. Trish was one of the best. By Stephanie, and where she is now with Triple H at the top. Booker T, it's enough for itself. I respect the man. He's a funny dude, man. And of course, why would Arnold be inducting Bruno? I don't know what Arnold Schwarzenegger had anything to do with Bruno. And I'm glad Bruno came back, but Bruno was also right there in the middle and late 80s in the way the product was being run once the way Senior left and Junior came in. But with Junior, either come along, go along to get along, or, step to the side. And Bruno chose to do that. Give him a lot of respect and credit. Respect and admire Bruno. One of my pro wrestling people that I respected and admired. I just said it. So to have that for the class of 2013, I guess they wanted to correlate it with immigrants who came here legally or ended up being legal. Let's not get into that conversation. I just know that the southern border has gone from hundreds of thousands a month to, I don't know, maybe triple digits. It speaks for itself. That's enough for me. For anyone else, you had two choices. Let's not get crazy again. I don't want to be hypocritical. Sometimes I can be because we fall short every day. So I get it. Here I am, trying not to be on a soapbox and then doing exactly what I said. It's probably not the greatest thing to do. So I'm human. I'm just like you. I acknowledge and I accept that. Doesn't make it right. So class of 2013, hell froze over. It was great to see Bruno back. And again, what a class. Mick Foley, Trish Stratus, Booker T, Bob Backlund, the Trumper, and Bruno Sammartino. So I believe that's all I have here for you guys. I was perusing through the latest new edition of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. There's Mina Chirakawa on the cover. This is on sale till May, so next month of 2025. But once you look at it, and especially when you look at the rankings and results, as we're doing this date, and we're doing Pro Wrestling History today, Pro Wrestling History, when you go to the rankings and the different companies that throw out here and top heavyweights. And so this is for the period ending February 9th, 2025. So we're here on April 6th, 2025. So literally 2 months behind when you get these current magazines. And in pro wrestling, for as much as things change, they stay the same. In 2 months in pro wrestling, there could be 1,000 different storylines or none at all. So we'll come back, we'll review this, we'll get into some Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It's not like the product of when I grew up in the magazine era of the 70s into the 80s, going to a cigar store, seeing all kinds of pro wrestling magazines. There was nothing like it. Kayfabe, yeah, okay. But that's when the business was more believable instead of the horse shit today. And no offense, because I respect everyone that gets into the ring, and especially everyone that takes a bump. Anyone at any level. Most of you can't say that, or you can't do it. Can you believe they charge almost $11 for this in Canada? $8, I don't know, maybe they've come down on their price for here in the United States. Who knew all this would sell? Right? Billions from Netflix, Max. It's on USA, the CW, TNT, TBS, multiple organizations, all over pay-per-view, hitting you $40, $50 a whack. Or you pay for the network, $10 a month, whatever it is where you are. Whether you have a VIPN, you pirate it, whichever, I don't care what you do personally. It's on almost, 5-6 nights a week. Oversaturated. Great for the stars, the talent, the business, I guess. Thanks for being here for the ride on this date, today, in pro wrestling history. I have to go entertain. I'm going to have a house full of people, which is very rare here at the Chaos headquarters. Very rare. I like my solitude. I like my space. And those that know me know that. Especially my brothers down at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Follow Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling on all social media platforms. with guys and owners and trainers that actually worked in the World Wrestling Federation and WCW and performed in Madison Square Garden at WrestleMania. Credibility, credentials, legit. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, Pretty Paul Roma, Mario Mancini, second generation grappler Paul Perez, and the big man, Steve Tracy. I'll say that to say this because I tell it like it is. I'll be back for an AEW Dynasty review, and keep following me alive on X, Twitter, right here on the channel. Enjoy. Don't you dare miss it.